Hey everyone, Cap from TCG Break here, bringing you my Paleozoic Frog deck profile for the December 2021 format. This is a rather fun rogue deck to play, and is able to take advantage of quite a few powerful trap cards, working in tandem with your Paleozoic traps, as well as your frog monsters, to easily facilitate your Xyz and Link plays. So with that being said, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with the main monster lineup, I'm playing 3 copies of Swap Frog. Swap Frog has the effect when it is summoned, where you can send one level 2 or lower water aqua monster from the deck or face-up field to the graveyard. Most of the time you will send a card such as Ronin Totem, and then use Swap Frog's additional effect, where you can once per turn return one monster you control to the hand. This allows you to gain an additional normal summon of one frog monster during your main phase, except Swap Frog, though in most cases, you will bounce the Swap Frog back to hand in order to possibly special summon it should you have one other water monster to discard. This would allow you to use Swap Frog's effect once again, sending another frog to the grave, which would give you a target to banish off of the Ronin Totem, to special summon the Ronin Totem, and then overlay for the Totally Awesome. Continuing with the frog package, I'm playing 3 copies of Dupe Frog. Dupe Frog has the useful effect where monsters your opponent controls cannot target monsters for attacks except Dupe Frog. Also, when Dupe Frog is sent from the field to the grave, you are able to add one frog monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Since this is a when effect, it may miss timing in certain situations, so in most cases, you will activate this effect when Dupe Frog is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave. And rounding it out for the frog package, I'm of course playing 2 copies of Ronin Totem. Ronin serves as a way to get an additional frog on your board to further facilitate your Xyz plays, as it has the effect if it's in the graveyard, where you can banish a frog from your grave and special summon Ronin. This is not a once per turn effect, so if you have multiple frog monsters in your grave, you are able to abuse the effect of Ronin Totem to possibly further link climb into a card such as Access Code Talker. And to round it out for the monster lineup, I'm playing 2 copies of Absolute King Backjack. Most of the time, if you open Backjack in your starting hand, you will simply normal summon it and then link it away using the Link Karibo in order to gain its effect that if it is sent to the graveyard, you are able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then place them on the top of the deck in any order. This is rather useful, as it also has the effect on your opponent's turn, where you can banish Backjack from the grave and excavate the top card of your deck, and if it is a normal trap card, you are able to set it to your side of the field. Otherwise, that card is sent to the graveyard. This of course allows you to dig deeper into your deck for further interruptions, or possibly get a card such as Ronin Totem into the grave to further your plays with the frogs on the next turn. As for the spell card lineup, I'm only playing 1 in the deck, being that of 1 copy of Scapegoat. Scapegoat allows you to possibly protect your life points should your opponent try to attack for game, as it allows you to special summon 4 sheep tokens to your field, which can also be used on your next turn as link material. Moving on to the trap card lineup, I'm playing 3 copies of Paleozoic Canadia. Canadia is your in-archetype Book of Moon, as it allows you to target one face-up monster your opponent controls and change it to face-down defense position. And pretty much all of the Paleozoic traps have the effect in the grave that when a trap card is activated while your Paleo trap is in the grave, you can special summon that Paleo trap as a normal monster. This is treated as a level 2 water aqua type monster, so you are able to use it as Xyz material for the Totally Awesome, and while your Paleo traps are on the field, special summoned via their effect, they are unaffected by monster effects, though they are banished when they leave the field. Continuing with the Paleo Trap lineup, I'm playing 3 copies of Paleozoic Olenoides. This is your in-archetype MST, allowing you to target one Speller Trap on the field and destroy it. Of course, you are also able to benefit off of the effect to special summon it from the grave should a trap card be activated while Olenoides is in the grave. And rounding it out for the Paleo Traps, I'm playing 2 copies of Paleozoic Dinomischus. I'm only playing 2 copies of Dinomischus in this deck, as most of the time you may not have the discard fodder in order to use its effect, where you can target one face-up card on the field, discard one card, and banish that targeted card. I find that playing 2 copies is more than enough, as this is also supplemented by playing 3 copies of Trap Trick, so you are almost always able to retrieve this card from your deck should you need it. As previously suggested, I am playing 3 copies of Trap Trick. This is a very useful card in this deck, allowing you to banish a normal trap from your deck, and then set one card with the same name directly from your deck. That trap is able to be activated the turn it is set, though after Trap Trick resolves, you are only able to activate one trap for the rest of that turn. Most of the time you will try to wait to activate the Trap Trick until after you have activated a majority of your trap cards in order to effectively bypass this prospective downside. Continuing with the trap lineup, I am of course playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. This is an especially useful and versatile trap card since it is able to be activated from your hand should your opponent choose to go first, but also proves helpful when going first in an attempt to stun your opponent's plays, as well as possibly taking advantage of its effect that negates all spell and trap effects in the column that Infinite Impermanence was set in for the rest of that turn. As for the draw support, I'm playing 3 copies of Reckless Greed. This simply allows you to draw 2 cards, though it forces you to skip your next 2 draw phases. You may choose to play the Pot of Prosperity over the Reckless Greed, though most of the time in this deck you are not looking for a specific combo piece, and the raw card advantage that Reckless Greed is able to generate is rather beneficial overall, since this is not a once per turn effect. So if you happen to draw into multiple copies of this card, or you are able to possibly Trap Trick into another copy, you can effectively draw 4 cards in one turn, and the downside of skipping your next 2 draw phases will not stack if multiple copies of this card are activated in the same turn. Since this is a trap card, you are also able to benefit off of your Paleos in the grave, should you have any, in order to generate material for your Xyz summons on the following turn. I'm also playing 3 copies of the Transmigration Prophecy. This is an excellent utility card against a variety of matchups, such as Phantom Knights as well as the Dinosaur matchup, as it allows you to target 2 cards in the graveyards and shuffle those targets into the deck. In the Phantom Knight matchup, you could possibly shuffle back 2 of their Phantom Knight monsters so that they are not able to banish them in order to benefit off of their effects, which may significantly hinder their end board, and this also stands true for a variety of rogue decks, such as the Dinosaur deck, allowing you to shuffle back monsters from their grave to possibly hinder their ability to special summon the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, either via its own effect or through the double evolution pill. So overall, this is an excellent card for a variety of matchups, and allows this deck to slowly control the game, and later further link climb into a card like Access Code Talker. I'm also playing 3 copies of Rise to Full Height. This is especially useful when used in conjunction with a card such as Dupe Frog, as it allows you to target a face-up monster on the field and double its defense. So in the case of Dupe Frog, you are able to double its defense up to 4,000, though its defense becomes 0 at the end of that turn. It also has the very useful effect where you can banish it from the graveyard in order to target one monster you control, and your opponent's monsters cannot attack for the rest of that turn, except that targeted monster. Additional trap support, I'm playing the 1 copy of Imperial Order and 2 copies of Dimensional Barrier. Quite a few decks are fairly reliant upon using spell cards, so Imperial Order helps to control the game by negating all spell effects on the field, and allows this deck to drag out the game long enough to possibly Xyz your Totally Awesome, or go for game with a card such as Access Code Talker. And the 2 copies of Dimensional Barrier are rather useful in a variety of matchups, as it allows you to declare a monster type, being that of Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Pendulum, and for the rest of that turn, neither player is able to special summon monsters of that declared type, and monsters of that declared type while they are on the field have their effects negated. So for example, if you were playing against Phantom Knights, you could call Xyz so that they are unable to summon the Break Sword, or should your opponent try to fusion summon the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, which has become a popular addition in almost any deck, you are also able to negate that monster's effects or prevent the summon altogether. And to round it out for the main deck, I'm playing 3 copies of Solemn Strike. This card simply allows you to further control the game, as most decks are fairly special summon reliant, whilst also having the additional flexibility to negate an activated monster effect. Although you are not able to chain your Paleo traps off of this trap card, I still find that this is an excellent addition to try to drag out a game as long as possible in order to further facilitate your Xyz and Link plays. Now moving on to the extra deck, I'm playing 3 copies of Totally Awesome. Toad has the very useful effect during the standby phase, where you can detach an Xyz material in order to special summon a frog from your deck. In most cases, you'll either special summon Swap or Dupe Frog to either benefit off of Swap Frog's effect on summon to send a frog from the deck to the grave, or benefit off of Dupe Frog's effect, forcing your opponent to be required to attack into the Dupe Frog. Totally Awesome also serves as an excellent Omni-Negate in this deck, simply by sending one Aqua-type monster from your hand or face-up field to the grave in order to negate the activation of a spell, trap, or monster effect. This destroys that card that was previously activated, then you are able to set that card to your field. Toad is able to easily shuffle itself back into your extra deck, as when it is sent to the graveyard, you are able to target a water monster in your grave and add it to your hand. This ensures that you almost always have a Totally Awesome to go into, though this effect may also allow you to add a card such as Swap Frog back to your hand in order to further send frogs from your deck to the grave to use as fodder to banish via the effect of Ronin Totem to further your Xyz summons on future turns. Additional Xyz support, I'm playing the 1 copy of Paleozoic Anomalocaris and 1 Paleozoic Opabinya. Anomalocaris is unaffected by other monsters' effects and has 2 very useful effects, where if a trap card is sent from your spell and trap zone to the grave, you are able to excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a trap, you can add it to your hand. Additionally, it has the once per turn effect during either player's turn, as long as it has a trap card as Xyz material, where you can detach 1 Xyz material from it to target 1 card on the field and destroy it. Paleozoic Opabinya is also unaffected by other monsters' effects, and has the rather beneficial effect where you are able to activate Paleozoic trap cards from your hand. This helps you possibly play around back row removal, such as Lightning Storm and Harpy's Feather Duster, and Opabinya also has the useful effect as long as it has a trap card as Xyz material, where you can detach 1 material to add a Paleozoic trap from your deck to the hand. This helps to ensure that you have enough trap cards in hand to further your plays in the grind game on the following turns, and also provides discard fodder should you need to use your Paleozoic Dinomischus. Rounding it out for the Xyz monsters, I'm playing the 1 copy of Sky Cavalry Centuria, 1 Downward Magician, and the 1 copy of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. Centuria is unable to be destroyed by battle while it has Xyz material, and has the useful effect at the end of the damage step where if the card battles an opponent's monster, you can detach an Xyz material in order to return that opponent's monster from the field to the hand. Most of the time you will overlay into the Sky Cavalry Centuria so that in your main phase 2, you are able to Xyz summon the Downward Magician, which simply gives you another material to Xyz summon the Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. Zeus helps you control the game should you not have many cards on the field, as it has the quick effect to detach 2 materials and send all other cards on the field to the graveyard. This combination gives the deck a fighting chance if trying to play second in an attempt to break through your opponent's board, then set a variety of trap cards that your opponent will have to play through on the following turn. Moving on to the Link monsters, I'm playing the 1 copy of Link Karibo and the 1 Link Spider. Most of the time you will Link summon the Link Karibo if you happen to open the Absolute King Backjack in order to benefit off of Backjack's effect when it is sent to the grave. The Link Karibo also has the useful effect when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you are able to tribute Link Karibo, and that monster's attack is changed to 0 until the end of the turn. If you happen to draw into an Absolute King Backjack, and Link Karibo is in your graveyard, should you normal summon the Backjack, you are able to tribute it in order to quick effect special summon Link Karibo from your graveyard. Link Spider simply serves as a way to give you an effect monster using one of your Paleozoic traps as material in order to further Link climb into a number of Link monsters that specifically require effect monsters. As for the Link 2 monsters, I'm playing the 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix and 1 Marincess Coral Anemone. Nightmare Phoenix allows you to break through some of your opponent's problematic back row, as if it is Link summoned, you are able to discard 1 card and then target a spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. And Marincess Coral Anemone is an excellent addition to this deck, as it has the effect where you can target a water monster with 1500 or less attack in your grave and special summon it to a zone Coral Anemone points to. This locks you into only being able to special summon water monsters for the rest of that turn, though in most cases you are not concerned with that prospective downside, as you are looking to special summon a card such as Swap Frog from your graveyard in order to benefit off of Swap Frog's effect, sending a card such as Ronin Totem, or giving you an additional frog to banish off of your Ronin Totem, to then possibly Xyz summon into the Totally Awesome. And to round it out for the extra deck, I'm playing the 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Access Code Talker, and 1 Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax. Unicorn allows you to spin one of your opponent's cards on the field back into their deck if it is Link summoned, as well as giving you an additional attribute to banish via the effect of Access Code Talker. Of course, Access Code is your way to end games in this deck, and proves a rather powerful boss monster overall, since your opponent is unable to activate cards or effects in response to its activations, and you are able to bring this out fairly reliably using the Nightmare Unicorn, which will boost its attack up to 5300, and you should be able to benefit off of Access Code Talker's effect multiple times within a turn by banishing a Link monster from your field or grave with a different attribute each time you use the effect in order to destroy 1 card your opponent controls. Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax also proves to be a rather powerful card in this deck, as your opponent is unable to target it with card effects, and monsters your opponent controls can only target Avermax for attacks. Additionally, Avermax has the quick effect, where if it battles a special summon monster, you can make Avermax gain attack equal to that opponent's monster's attack during damage calculation only. And if your opponent is able to beat over the Avermax, and it is sent to the graveyard, you are able to shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck. Now moving on to the side deck, I'm playing 2 copies of Gameciel, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. This helps the deck get over an opponent's problematic monster, such as a Baronne de Fleur or a Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, and you are able to add this back to your hand via the effect of Totally Awesome, should it be sent to the grave, which allows you to tribute over an additional monster your opponent controls, should you need it. Additional trap support, I'm playing 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. Since I'm only running 1 spell card in this deck, Anti-Spell Fragrance does not conflict with the strategy overall, since most of the time you are setting the Scapegoat to use on your opponent's turn, and this card allows you to slow down the game since quite a few decks are fairly reliant upon spell cards, and this card should give you enough time in order to benefit off of your Paleo traps or frog monsters to get a negate on the board through Totally Awesome to control the game there forward. I'm also playing 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. This is a card you will want to side into in games 2 and 3, as your opponent will most likely side into back row disruption, such as Lightning Storm and Harpy's Feather Duster, as being able to protect your back row is key to ensuring that you are able to grind out the game, so once again Solemn Judgment is an excellent addition to this deck. I'm also playing 3 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. This is an excellent card to side into should your opponent be playing a deck that primarily uses 1 type of monster, as it has the effect where you can target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, and then you are able to banish 1 monster from both players' field that have the same type as one another. you are able to benefit off of this effect in a number of matchups. For example, against the Eldritch deck, in order to possibly banish their Eldritch should they have an Eldritch in the grave and one on the field, which can severely hinder their plays thereafter. Or you could use this in the Phantom Knight matchup, since pretty much all of the Phantom Knight main deck monsters are warrior type monsters, which once again could severely slow down their plays so that you are able to grind out the game long enough to bring out your Totally Awesome and possibly later Link Climb into Access Code Talker. And to round it out for the side deck, I'm playing 2 copies of Different Dimension Ground and 2 Heavy Storm Duster. Different Dimension Ground proves to be a powerful addition to this deck, as it may outright skip your opponent's turn, using its effect that any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. And the 2 copies of Heavy Storm Duster are especially useful in the back row heavy matchups against decks such as Altergeist and Eldritch, and I'm choosing to play the Heavy Storm Duster over a card such as Lightning Storm, simply so you are able to possibly special summon your Paleo traps from the graveyard when Storm Duster is activated. So this has been my Paleozoic Frog deck profile for the December 2021 format. As always, if you enjoyed the video and would like to see more like it, feel free to give us a like and subscribe. Feel free to leave any suggestions regarding changes you would make to the deck in the comments below. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to use our TCG Player affiliate link, which may be found in the description below the video. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, until the next one, have a nice day.